Hi everyone, welcome back to Crow's Whisper Tarot. Today we're going to be looking at your strengths and how you can manifest them a lot easier, how you can bring more luck and prosperity to your lives using those strengths. So let's jump into today's reading. Alright guys, here are the piles. We have pile 1, pile 2 and pile 3. Take your time selecting your pile and then we'll jump straight into the reading. Welcome pile 1 to your reading. You guys picked out the Dark Mansion Tarot. So let's have a look at what your strengths are. So straight up, full popped out, face up. So it can be that you guys are very good at following your intuition, just going for things, not hesitating before you move, which is, a hard thing to do. Most of us tend to overthink things, but if you are able to utilize that energy of taking things a step further, taking risks, being able to put yourself out there, even in spaces that you feel uncomfortable, using those strengths to your benefit is something that is one of the things that you can really build on in the future and make one of your, most inherent qualities. We also have the Seven of Pentacles. For some of you, it can be that it seems like there's a very interesting balance within your character in terms of your strengths, because we have the Fool and we have the Eight of Wands, both of which are able to utilize your energy and push yourself forward. At the same time, we also have the Seven of Pentacles and the Four of Cups, which are both sort of more contemplative, taking time, being able to take things slower and process. So you have these two qualities that are so significant and so balanced within yourself that you can really hone into and utilize to your own benefit. In the long run, it seems like your most inherent trait is being able to make a really solid plan for yourself. And it's not just like for, the immediate future, but it's planned for like the long term, and being able to put things together and knowing what is going to work for you, what is not, and really taking the time to mold your life to exactly how you want it to be. And that can be in any aspect of your life as well, but the main thing is that you're able to really focus in on what you want, what is grounding you, what is holding you together, and then being able to really push forward and create that. Even if, you have other people's opinions, other people's thought processes, they don't hold much significance to you. I think you are also a very intuitive person, that you're able to know exactly what path is ahead for you, what exactly is right for you. And even if others may disagree or comment on it, I think you know your own power. You know exactly where you stand, even if it doesn't always feel that way. You definitely have that quality where you're able to really focus on yourself and focus on your dreams and ambitions and where you want to be in the future, and able to really focus on how you're going to create that, how you're going to manifest this, world that you desire for yourself. So that's one of the main traits that is popping out, is that balance mainly between your long-term, goals and your drive to get there by any means necessary. In terms of how you can use this strength to help manifest these dreams and ambitions further is what we'll look at now. We have the Three of Wands, the Emperor, Four of Swords, the Ten of Swords, the Lovers reversed, and the Page of Swords reversed. Again, I feel like in terms of contemplating exactly what you want, dreaming up where you want to go, cutting things off where you feel like things aren't working out to your benefit, you're really good at. the aspect that I feel like long term, just to push yourself a little bit further, is being able to build more contacts with other people. I get the sense that you like to plan things, commit to things on your own. You don't really hold, again, other people's words as being significant or having a big influence on you, but there is a slight downside to that they just want you to be aware of, is that with both of these cards, you want to be able to be like a master communicator, being able to investigate things further for yourself through the contacts of others. If you don't have the ability to take on feedback or even just, advice from the people around you and completely neglect it, you're going to be missing out on something. So always be open to receiving advice, being able to receive help from other people, being able to really embrace what other people are trying to give you. Of course, not all things are going to make sense or be beneficial to you in the long term, but having that background knowledge, having it at the back of your mind as an option for something else when things don't go to plan, because again, the full energy is quite strong here. But I think more than anything, you're able to, by getting more contacts, it just boosts you further through this process. And especially if you are wanting to, down the track, be in somewhat of a leadership position. So even if you're even working on your own, it can be that you're able to guide other people better or, help out the community better. Whatever your goal is, you're in a position that requires you to communicate really well with the people around you. And that's a skill that you need to develop over time and get really used to talking to people who you're not, that interested in, not having anything in common with, struggle with that communication with other people. That's something that you can really build on and create. It's not necessarily something to shy away from. And I think, again, you're very good at working on your own and doing your own thing. But when it comes to other people being involved, there's an element that I'm picking up that you feel like you're just very out of place, or you try to disconnect from those individuals. And especially with the Ten of Swords cards, you don't want to be in a position where you're going to be not able to achieve what you want. And so you don't want to mentally drain yourself, you don't want to physically drain yourself in whatever your goals are. You want to be able to share the load with other people. You want to be able to communicate well with other people, being able to establish, even if it's just like learning a new skill from someone else, that's something that can benefit you in the long term, although it's uncomfortable to ask for help, especially if they're a stranger. But it does come with its own benefits over time to really build that world that you desire. So let's get a few additional messages. So we have Buonesferi. She is the rising sun, marking the end of darkness and the replenishment of a life force after illness or devastation. She creates a clean slate and a fresh start. She protects and preserves that which is worthy of the heart. She shines in a perpetual state of divine beauty and radiance, attracting to us the most supportive and honoring of circumstances. So, more than anything, if you are wanting to create the most of what you have, it's important that you really try and decide for yourself what is best for you, what is going to give you the most of what you have. If you feel like holding things back within yourself, unable to, get the perspective of others, get the influence from, media of whatever kind it is, there is an element that to attract what is most important to you and what you desire, you need to be open to receiving. And that's something that you need to sort of pick up over time. if you do want to read the back of it on your own, you can always pause the video for this. But ultimately, what you need to decide on is to decide what is most important. How many different ways can you achieve your goal? And I feel like in some capacity, you're quite headstrong with when it comes to putting into action, you sort of stick to one path rather than see the multitude of options that you have to achieve that same goal. And based on how open you are, that changes how soon these things tend to manifest. So that's something to keep in mind. But more than anything, it does feel like with this group, it's a matter of adapting your strengths and really making sure that you are able to extend a little bit further each time so that you can be your ultimate self. So that was your reading, Pile 1. Hope you enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading. So let's start off with seeing what your strengths are. You guys picked out the Way of the Panda tarot deck. Quite a few cards ended up popping out, so I'm going to keep all of them. So we have the 8 of Wands, the 3 of Cups, the 7 of Wands, and we also have the 10 of Cups, the 10 of Pentacles, and the Page of Wands. Very different energy all around, but the ultimate thing that I am seeing is, I'm assuming, I'm going to read this as your first quality, but the first quality is that you're able to really manifest the dreams you want in terms of the people you want in your life, the circumstances that you want to be in, the energy that you want to be surrounded by. You're very good at picking up those things. So if you're in a situation where you feel like the people you're around are not benefiting you, you almost sense it immediately. You have a very good read on not so much people, but the energies surrounding people or groups of people. And so if you find that you're in an environment that is, not to your benefit, you're feeling like an environment causes more stress or discomfort for you, you're going to immediately know and immediately sense that you need to move away from that environment. Obviously, it's hard to do it sometimes, especially if, it's, a gathering or something like that. But it does feel like you have a very good sense for what is right for you and what is not, especially when it comes to the people you're surrounded by. And because of that, it actually leads you to having really good senses of boundaries of who is, worth being in your life and who is not. Obviously, the people around you might not always understand your perspective on that, but this is one of the qualities that is quite significant for you because it's going to help you in the long term. We also have the 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, and Page of Wands. Even if you don't quite feel this way, it shows that you have a very good way of communicating and presenting yourself to the people around you. It might not always be clear cut. It might not always be, perfect in the way that you do it, but others get a very good sense of you and your personality the more they spend time with you. I think also once you create, similarly to the first strength that you had, to knowing the energies of other people, you're very good at creating a strong community around yourself. And obviously it's the right community for you, but you're able to really make people connect well to each other. And especially with the Page of Wands, what I'm getting is that you have a way of just radiating like warmth and happiness, and it comes in a way that not just from like your gestures or body language or like way of speaking, but it's just you make the other person feel comfortable. You make the other person feel like this individual clearly, wants to understand me better, wants to know about myself better. And so it leads into that sort of environment where over time you are able to adapt into those changes. And even if it doesn't feel like obvious at the time, it does come with its own benefits. And it can also be, for some of you, that one of your strengths is that you're very good with children as well, especially with the 10 of Cups and 10 of Pentacles. It could be something that is significant for you if you're very good with kids. So let's have a look at how these strengths can be used to your benefit. I did not need that many cards. I'm just going to flip that over for now, and if I need it, I will take from that pile that dropped out. So we have the 9 of Wands, the 5 of Pentacles, and the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. More than anything, what I'm picking up is that with both of these, obviously, both of these strengths that you have are related to people and understanding people. And I feel like you're in a position where you can use those strengths to benefit other people, to bring them out of hardship, to make them feel like there's something, there's light at the end of the tunnel. They're able to move things forward and move on from their struggles, and use that to make them feel like there is something to grow from, rather than feel like they're bogged down by those either thoughts or energies related to that. But it does feel like you almost take on like a counselor sort of energy with this, and it can be more to do with just your immediate community, or it can go further than that depending on what you relate to. But ultimately, you have an immense ability and immense empathy, and being able to understand people and their actions and why they're doing things, compared to just sort of hanging out and seeing, what's going to end up happening. And it does feel like with that sort of energy that you're able to, oh, that's funny, we did end up getting the King of Cups, which is sort of that counselor sort of energy, so that's quite funny. But it does feel like you're able to, even if you're not directly involved with them, you can see the way their mind works and the way they sort of conduct themselves. And again, we sort of have that Devil and Hanged Man energy where you're really able to bring about a new perspective to something that seems relatively negative, at least to that person. And it's not necessarily going to make, a life-changing decision on that person's part, but it just gives them that extra bit of knowledge, an extra bit of determination to really see themselves and the environment they're in. So it can just be like between friends, you are able to identify like toxic traits in someone, but it does feel like your grasp on people and characteristics are so deep that others are able to pick up, that they can go to you for advice. They can come to you for any issues they have, because they can feel that you're able to deliver some form of comfort and some form of, knowledge about what is happening. I'm just going to take another 2 cards from that pile that dropped out. Again, Hermit and 9 of Pentacles. For some of you, I think the other thing that you can do to really make sure that you're able to use those strengths to your benefit is to use it in a way that allows you time for yourself, because dealing with other people's emotions and energies can be draining over time, especially if it tends to be more on the negative side. You don't want to take that with you. And so it could be that some of you are part of, or could be really suited for, a medical sort of profession where you have to deal with people's emotions and traumas and things like that. But for others of you, it can be that you're able to use those skills in a way that can financially benefit you. There is an aspect of that, especially with the 9 of Pentacles, where you're able to use these skills, these people skills, to really hone into what other people are going to need. And so you can provide that as a service, is the vibe I'm getting. But let's get a final message. You know, a lot of like chunks of cards keep falling out for this pile. I don't know if that's related, but it could be that you are again able to draw out a lot from the people around you, is just what I'm getting. We have Blue Tara. Chaos will give way to a higher order of love. Let there be peace in your heart. As Blue Tara looks to her right, gazing towards the future, she sees a vision for yourself. Peaceful, protected, authentic. And so you have every right to feel hopeful, happy, and secure in the destiny that is now unfolding for you. So you can pause the video if you need to read that in more detail. But ultimately, it is a message about you being in your best possible self, in a energy where, you know, you're able to bring joy and happiness and hope for yourself and people around you. Again, that counselor energy, that motivator energy that is coming through. You are someone who people go to for advice, with or without you knowing. And you give advice with or without you knowing as well. It sort of goes both ways. And I do feel that a lot of people end up relying on you despite what other circumstances might come about. We also have Mahakali. You can trust that what is happening right now will give way to a new expression when the time is right. That time will be the best time when your readiness matches your requirements for success. Attend to your work with determination and hope in your heart. Trust that divine is taking care of everything else. Your progress is spiritually protected. Again, for some of you, you could have a very spiritual tendency. You could be very good at feeling for spirituality, and feeling like things are going well according to trusting in the divine. And it could be something that you're practicing as well. And it can lead into that hermit energy as well, where you do really well with spirituality, taking time for yourself, meditating, trusting that whatever's meant to be is meant to be. And that could be something that you are actively talking to the people who are asking you for advice. It can also be that that's something that others are drawn to you for. So it can go both ways. But that was your reading, pile 2. Hope you enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading on what your strengths are. So this is the Tarot of the Divine. Let's have a look at what messages you have in terms of what your strengths are, and then we can have a look at see how we can utilize it to the best of our ability. We have the Page of Pentacles reversed, the 8 of Wands reversed, which is interesting. Almost all the piles had 8 of Wands as one of their strengths, so that's quite interesting. We have the Hanged Man, and we have the Knight of Pentacles, or Knight of Coins. Ooh. More than anything, I feel like this group, the main strength is that they are willing to give their energy and time to others. You have this immense ability to take your time to help your community, to help the people around you, to do things that need to be done rather than want to happen. And I feel like you're very good at making small changes in your life and other people's lives to benefit the community on its own. And it doesn't have to be big things. Like, you're not completely driven, you're not putting yourself out there in the spotlight, you're not sort of pushing that narrative, you're sort of working in the background, being able to really portray change that is slow burning, that takes time to grow, and especially with the amount of Pentacle cards that are coming out, that's something that you do, is you work at a slower pace to make long-lasting change. And especially with that Hangman energy, that is quite significant, is that you're able to not only see perspectives of others, you're able to end up creating change that is lasting, and it can be through really small things. Again, starting with your local community, moving outwards, or within the sphere that you're in, you're able to create more discussions, more knowledge, being able to make things more interesting to the topic of whatever it is that you are interested in. But it does feel like over time you're starting to create almost like a chain ripple effect where things are starting to move, and you will notice that over time. It's not necessarily immediately that you're going to feel it, but it is something that is slowly going to take hold. So let's have a look at how, actually I want a bit more information. What actually is pile 3 strength? Because that was a little bit vague. Getting a lot of reversals. We have the Temperance, Moon, and 6 of Swords reversed. I think your main strength is being able to not so much create a narrative to benefit you. You're very good at making very objective, clear to the point, no fluff advice, or being able to do things in a way that is so perfectly clear there's no misunderstandings. And that can go with your communication style as well. And it makes the other person not only really trust your words, but it makes the other person feel like they can rely on you in the future for more information. And that sort of leads into this sort of chain process where you're focused more on the truth and accessing the truth compared to having a discussion that's very one-sided. And it feels like you're able to bring the most clear-cut truth, the most balance into any conversation, and that leads to a lot of change over time. So how can you use these strengths to your benefit? We have the 7 of Wands, the 10 of Swords, 6 of Pentacles reversed, King of Pentacles reversed, and the 2 of Swords. Ultimately, the biggest way that you can really create change and make the most of the skills that you have is to apply it to places that feel like they need that extra hand. So even if, you're doing a course and you feel like someone's, not coping well, not really understanding, going to that person directly and communicating, not being held back in a situation. Even if, the other party doesn't want you to be involved, getting involved can actually benefit you in the future, because the other person almost immediately is able to see your skill level, your understanding, what you're there to do. Like, they don't feel the need to be defensive around you, even if they initially don't want to have you there and don't need your responses. But it feels like almost immediately after you start having a conversation with them, being able to give them the bare facts, being able to almost take away their understanding of things and make it so that they see the clearer details of the situation that they're in. It doesn't always mean that you're going to have confrontations with people around you. It just means that you're very good at discussions, putting your words forward, being able to not so much communicate, but being able to either demonstrate things really easily. I think body language wise as well, you have a way of conducting yourself that is able to really portray exactly what emotions you're wanting to. And so over time it ends up being that others feel more confident and comfortable with relying on you for things in general. It does feel like one of your strengths is that over time you can provide more for the community around you, that you can sort of help those in need, help those who seem to be struggling with what is in front of them. And it does feel like over time you're able to help build a more balanced future for others, but initially it takes you trying to pursue things and getting things started. You need to take the most action to begin with before you see that sort of end result of people being supported and being benefited in some capacity. So let's have a look at some additional messages to see for any other advice on how what your strengths are can benefit. So we have Kundalini Shakti. Significant inner shifts are taking place. Energies are beginning to move in new ways. You may feel the resolution is hard to pin down at this time. Lean into unfamiliar territory with boldness tempered by patience. You'll become capable of many things on many levels, and that you were not capable of accomplishing previously. You shall arise, a fresh path is signified. More than anything, this just brings more clarity into the fact that the journey that you are on in terms of really establishing your strengths is something that will take time. It takes, that slower pace to really build that sort of connection, to build, that genuine quality within yourself that others can rely on. It's something that I think you're still on the journey of accomplishing, and it's going to take a little bit longer, but you are definitely on the right path with so far what you have done with your life and what you're trying to achieve to really make you gain exactly what is in front of you. And in a sense, especially with this card, it's a balance between your masculine and feminine sides. And so being able to not only focus on how to create and structure things, but also being able to build that empathy with other people, being able to see other people and their pain, and being able to provide solutions to those sorts of things. It is something that takes a lot of time to build that nurturing quality, and I feel like that's something that you're currently on the path of doing. Whether you are male or female, it doesn't really matter, but the energy is more so that you are creating a more balanced self, and that's going to start taking a lot of time. And even if you do feel like things are slow moving, just know that you are definitely on the right path. And it's not that, things are more difficult. It's just that things need time to settle, that you feel more confident within yourself to go to others and help, to be able to put yourself forward in some capacity. That is what takes the most amount of time compared to the journey of creating something. It's more your inner journey that needs to be relied on more. So that was your reading, pile 3. Hope you enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.